In this video, we'll continue with our point of sale system in JavaScript, and this is part 11. So what we're going to do now is basically focus on the denomination. That's the right term. So denomination, what is that exactly? Well, remember in here, when we click here on our calculator, we have these buttons here. They need to work, but the way how they work is slightly different than what we have here above. Because basically what we have here, when we select this, it says here 5. All right. And then maybe we want to have a certain value added extra, which would be 10. When we click on that, it will eventually add here 5 and then plus 10, making it equal to 15. So this can be very common if someone would pay you $10 and then 2.5, so you have $12.50, something like that. So we want to have this so we don't have to really press it all, but this will speed up our process. So let's start to work on that. So for that, we need to go all down to our code here. Let's see here. And what we're going to do here, we have this exact amount button. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new function. And this function, we can call it the denomination, which will show you the nomination of the item or of the button. And nomination is basically the bill's nomination here. These are the specific values that the bills carry. So let's go and start working on it. So we say a function, and I'm going to give this a function, the denomination button. Then in here, I'm going to put in a parameter, and this parameter will be called bill or bill value, or you can call it even a nomination. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's referred to the specific bill we click on or the value of that bill, and that will be added up to the total sum here. So for this, what we need to do here then is basically what we want is we want to get the calculator value here plus any other value we select. So let's start to do that. Luckily, we already have here this specific constant, so we can use this constant because it's based on the screen amount. So we're going to grab the screen amount, and then we say here, and what we say here, this screen amount value equals the value that, or the calculated screen amount value plus the bill value. So once I did this, and then I can save this. Once I save that, refresh, let's see what happened. So when we click on it, we can see if it will recognize this. If I select here, of course it doesn't recognize, we didn't put the function in here, but we need to also validate if they will recognize this number here together with each other. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because I noticed that we forgot about that, we're going to get this function name, the denomination button, and we put it here as an on-click above in the model here. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the one, yes. You can see here the values of the nomination of the bill. So in here, button, we say on-click equal. And then we put in here the value that would be matching with it. So in this case, this is a $1 bill. I'm going to copy this. It's going to paste that in here, and this will be a $5 bill. This will be a $10 bill, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, you can see here, this one will be 20. And of course, depending on your country, you can use any other currency nomination, depending on your country, of course, or the currency that you're using. So $50, and finally here, $100. Alright, so now we save this. Now let's reconfirm this. We click on this, we select this, then we press here 9, and then we say here number 1. So what is really happening now is it just adds up, or it concatenates. That means that it doesn't recognize this item here as a value, and I realized that this here, you could see we could type even item, so we probably have to do some adjustments on here, or disable this specific item for typing. So that will be, well, we could do that quickly here. That would be just here above. That's the buttons. Where is the calculator value? This input ID, and we can say here, this input ID equals disabled. That's it. So if I do that one now, and I select this, click on that, I cannot click anymore, but I can still press on these buttons here. But if I select that, and I try to put in numbers or something else, doesn't work. Nice. So now let's fix our real issue here. So we're going down here at the bottom, and probably need to parse the value, because what happened, it doesn't recognize a specific value. Or it doesn't recognize the value as an integer or a floating number. Let's look. We have here the exact amount. This is the one we need. All right. So in here, basically what we could do here is we can say here parse, and we say float. And the reason why float is because we want a floating number if there's more than if there's more than a basic number, or like a more than an integer. Basically, what would be the right term would be if there's a value behind the decimal. If there's a value with a decimal point, that's the right term. So what I want to do here, I want to make sure this is a floating value. So we say parse float, and then we have this. We can even check and confirm this by seeing here if it's a string or not. So I'm going to show you some nice trick, and maybe I already covered that one, but this is a very useful one. Just as a reminder. So I'm going to grab this value here. And then what I will do is here, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to do the same is parse float. And make sure that we have this here. Save that. So if I save that and refresh, we can click on this, and then we click on checkout, we click on that, and then we select this 8 and then say plus 10, 20, there we are. So you can see here it goes quite fast. This is very nice. If I open up our developer tab, you can see here these colors here. One is gray or blackish, and the other one is a bluish color, like a link color. So if it's grayed out, it would mean that it's a string. And if it's not grayed out, or basically bluish, it would mean that it is an integer or a parse, basically a number value. So you can see here, if I would say dot 1, this here, and then I will add up here 10, it keeps on going, and it will not interfere with our dot here. And even if I would say 0, it would just continue on at the back. While these numbers here, we'll just put it at the front. If I click on this, what happens? It will delete everything and just put in the exact amount. So if I clear this again, let me double check here. What was the value? I forgot what was the value, $4.99. So what I will do here, let's say I have $5. All right, we get here an issue. We see here two issues. First of all, we see here a none, which means not a value. And secondly, we see the confirm button is being grayed out or disabled. So let's solve that one, and then after check what's going on here. So I thought we were already done with this, but of course, it's not that easy always. So what we're going to do here is the following here. We're going to grab the specific function here, the confirm button, which is this specific function. We can just copy this function. And we want to run through this function here. Next, what we need to do here, we have to check here the following. Parse float. So the reason why it works like that, or what is the issue here, is basically the value is equal to null or to no value. That's why it's none, not a value here. So the moment we click on 0, it becomes 0. So probably it would make sense to maybe create a starting value in here of 0. That would be the most logical thing at all. So if you clear this, it should be not blank, but it should be 0. And then whatever we select, it will just correct itself or adjust itself towards that. Alright, so let's start to check and solve that one, because I noticed that this is eventually, you notice that once you start to work on it, that you can find some bugs along the way. Semicolon here just for extra, just to keep it nice. Let's see, where are we going to work on? We're going to click on this clear button, so we need to see here cancel calculator. Alright, so cancel calculator is probably the same with the clear button as well. Let's see here, exact amount, the denomination button. Or I think this is the one here, the cancel. Calculator cancel. Am I correct that this is the one? Let me double check here. I just need to check if this is the ID. I assume this is the one here. But I'm not 100% certain, so I'm going to check here within the console log. You can see a calculator cancel. Alright. So calculator cancel would indicate that the value is back to blank. So let's change that. We just make this value equal to 0. Save that. And let's refresh. And now if I go back here, select this, and then if I cancel, it becomes 0. There's an issue here, of course, because when we start it, it is no value at all. So this value here will create still the none issue. But if we do cancel and then we do this, you can see it solves the issue. So let's solve the complete reload here. Basically, the reload would mean that there's a default value. We're going to put a default value in the item itself, or basically in the input. So we're going to scroll up here into the specific input here, which is the calculated screen amount. And you can see here the calculated screen amount right now has no value, so we're going to say here value equals 0. So we just have a fixed value in there, which is our default value. So if I select this, we click here on checkout, and then we click on this, we have 0, and if I then select here $5, it works and we can confirm. The moment we confirm, then we're done basically. Here, of course, it should be a hide, and what it should happen eventually is two things. We will confirm, it will save it in a database, and then what we also need to do, because what's also essential eventually is the receipt. We need to have a receipt. I realize I didn't put in here the receipt, but when I have the confirmation button, what I need to do here, let's solve that one immediately. When I click confirm, what I do want to do here is the following. I want to get this amount here, customer paid amount, which would be the inserted amount, and then we have the change value. So how much do we need to give back to the customer? So let's do that one right now. I guess that's one that we can solve quickly as well. So let's look at this. We need to put in, here we have this. Alright, we got that one. Well, I guess that's the exact amount. Well, no, not the exact amount. So it's the confirm paid button. So let's see your confirm paid button. It will set a new value, and that's this calculator value here. This calculator value should be in here as well. So I'm going to give this a, or let's explore what's the ID name of this one. And you can see here the ID name equals, let's double check here the amount. It's the customer amount paid. So that's what we can copy here. So what I will do here, I'll create a new function. And this function will eventually be matched with this one. It will be chained on here, and maybe we could put it in one. It depends on what you prefer. Having separate sometimes is better, so you know that these are all separate items. So I'm going to say here, this will be the customer amount. Let's put this one like that. Paid display or input. I guess we can say you have display. That will be fine. So then here, I'm going to make the function here, and then let's put this one here. And all we do here is the following. We need to say here a constant that we can say a customer. I'm going to grab here also. I make this like that. Paid. Oh. So make sure you have these caps locks here, and then I'll say here equals document dot get element by ID. And the ID name is that of course. So we say here this, and then we say the following. This item here has a value. When we confirm this, alright, then we need to have the calculator screen. So we'll grab that, put it in here the moment we select on, we confirm the payment. Makes sense. So I'm going to grab this. Remember, we have this one here, the screen amount dot value. And all we say here, this dot value, or sorry, this one, the customer amount paid dot value equals the calculator screen amount dot value. So this is only triggered if we have confirmed this. So that will be here in this if statement. If this disabled, let me double check. This will be true. Am I correct? To confirm paid. Alright, so I assume it's in here. I just need to make sure. You can see what we did here was by default we always put it on these disabled, on true, and then after we'll loop here if this is working. So did I put in here? I'm wondering if I say here confirm paid. I realize that this button is not really confirming it. It's only allowing us to click on it. So probably this is not really the right term. Alright, so what you need to do here is something. We need to have this function, must be incorporated, but only on the click. So when we click on this disabled, and this is true, then I need to have here a on click, I realize. So how are we going to do this? Let me think quickly. So I'm going to check here, and then I'm going to go in here. This would only figure out this function here. on click cancel, or what is there more? Confirm button. ID confirm paid. Here is still no function. Alright, there's no function in here. So what we can do here is give it. And I realize that this is really a wrong term. So I want to rename this one, because this function is basically what I thought it was, is this. Alright, so I'm going to just put this in here. And don't worry, it's a tiny name adjustment only. So we're going to put this in here. So what we're going to do here is just quickly, this is the confirm paid button. And this one here is not the confirm paid button, but the confirm paid button, maybe here. Enable confirm paid button. That makes far more sense to me. It's more descriptive because it's referring only to when you enable it. So we just only change the name here to enable and then confirm with a capital C. So once we readjust them, and I guess we have adjusted everything now. So what we're going to do now here is solve this specific issue. So we say here the confirm button paid is a function, and this function will be triggered on click. Where exactly? When we click on confirm paid. That makes sense. This is why we had this confirm paid button. So we go here up and let's search for the specific model. Alright, so this is a good lesson here as well to figure out all these items. So we can say here on click. So when we click on this, and it's by default disabled, but once we click on it, it means it will be enabled, meaning that the value is equal or more than what the customer, what we need to charge the customer. So the customer paid us a certain amount. So we have this here. Alright, we got that one. We click on this, and then the moment we click on this, all we want to do here is, well, I realize that they are here. It's basically the same. It doesn't make any sense here. I guess this would be very redundant. Let's change that to this here. And then I realize that we can just remove this, because this is just a double function. It would be just, doesn't make any sense. I would have that. Alright. So we have this here. When we click on this confirm paid button, then the customer amount would be paid value equals that one. So let's save that. And let's see here. In this should be all fine. We have that one. Let's double check. I'm not sure now. I'm getting, as you can see, it's getting quite massive, and that's why it's also struggling. So we click on this, we do this, we say exact amount, we have to solve as well. Confirm. Alright, you can see we get an error here, but I realize as well, the confirm must disable. But then we can check here what's going on. Uncut property settings, oh no, on value 438. Let's close this for now. 438. 438. That's this one here. So we say this is the value here, and then alright, so why was the issue? The ID name, sorry about this, ID name is not matching. It was just this specific ID name. No, I think it's not, sorry. Let me double check. Let's go here to checkout, click on this. What is the ID name of this specific button? And then I'm going here, and for some reason it just only grabs the footer. Fair enough. Let's go here. Button confirm is confirm paid. Sorry about this. This is the one we have. So we click on that button. Alright, just give me a minute. I'll just pause it. Just to check. Alright, I figured out. I guess it's, I was looking at the button, but it's not. Remember, when we click on this button, what do we want to do? So this is very important. I was getting confused about it. When we confirm this button, what do we want to do? We want to put the value or the amount that the customer needs to pay, over the amount the customer paid here. So this is the item, and this was the ID name here. Let's look for this ID name. Customer amount paid. This was already with small letters, or I had it first as caps locks here, and now I just readjusted to small letters, and that is that was the issue. But probably now let's double check. Click on that, and then we say here, enter exact amount, confirm. We get no error. Nice. Let's close that. Here you can see the value is shown here. Alright, so we have this now. So that's almost what we need, and what I will do is, I guess in the next video, is when you're getting long here, we're going to work on the final items here to fine tune this, and then we have the change here, and then after we need to make this specific receipt button as well.